lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just come just come just come You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just come, just come, just come. Just come.
After an incredible race last week at the USA International Speedway, we head up to Braselton, Georgia, and the Lanier National Speedway for round number 3 of the Super Late Model AI Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. Alongside me, my broadcast partner, Toni Trapasso. Tony, these first two races have been an absolute hit thus far. We've had a ton of fun broadcasting these. Time to do it again here from Lanier.
Absolutely. Lanier is one of those tracks that it doesn't get a lot of love once you get out of the lower tiers in iRacing, but this track is so much fun once you get a hang of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is not just an asphalt racetrack either. This is a track that, yes, you'll see them in the ARCA series, but you'll also see it really coming up in the Dirt Oval series. This is a big part of the foundation of that series as well.
Yes, it is. This is one of the two rookie tracks that they use on the dirt side of things. And again, it dirt pavement, it doesn't matter. This track is just so much fun. And the people are so welcoming here in Braselton, Georgia, that it's almost scary. But another thing that's scaring me tonight, Frank, is that track temperature.
Yep, and we will definitely get to that a little bit later. We are right dead smack in the middle of the afternoon here at Lanier. But before we move on, let's take a look at our point standings here going into this race. And notably, one driver out in front right now, that would be Sean Woodside with the points lead currently only by 1 point over Toni Breidinger. Sean Woodside in a series where everybody's equal. Anything can happen in any given week. Anyone can win. Anyone can finish last. We saw that with Parker Traves, finished last at the season opener and then won last week at USA. Sean Woodside, the only driver to have finished in the top 5 in both races this season, finished 3rd at the season opener at the Bullring and finished 5th last week, currently leading the points by 1 over Toni Breidinger.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you got to take a look at just how close those points are after two races. Now, granted, this is a different point scheme than a lot of people are going to be used to seeing, but the fact that we've got 1 point separating first and second, and then you're only another 8 points back to get to third. This is exciting. Even early on in the season, just how tight this points battle is. It's going to be fun to stay on top of that as the season wears on and see who the most consistent driver is going to be. Because, to quote Richard Petty, in order to finish first you must finish. And that's something that a lot of guys have been struggling with as far as fuel mileage goes, as far as tire strategies go. We've seen some guys not able to nail that money stop.
Yep, and we have seen a lot of issues on pit road, and hopefully they do not continue because this pit road is a unique one here tonight at Lanier. It's a very long one. It goes throughout the entirety of the infield of the racetrack, and the entry and exit are incredibly awkward here at this racetrack. You have to enter coming out of turn number 4, go all the way around pit road, and then exit again out of turn number 1. So if you have one of those early pit stalls on the front straightaway, you got to go all the way around before you can go out.
Right, but it's the same for everybody. So even if you've got the first pit stall or the last pit stall, you still have to go all the way around this piece. And then you've got to merge back on without clobbering somebody that's coming through 1 and 2, because it's going to be so easy to get that wrong tonight.
And think of the pit entry at a place like Milwaukee, that it's a very tight. It's just a narrow opening in the wall, as you could see there, as the 50 of Trevor Huddleston becomes one of the first drivers to get out onto the racetrack. Toni Breidinger there as well. So it's going to be a very tight, very narrow pit road to get on here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And unlike the normal qualifying that we see in the other series, we're going to see times coming in hot and heavy right now with everybody out on track.
Yep, everybody is out on track right now, and it's Derek Kraus right now leading the field. He was very aggressive, we noted, in the practice session, making it 3 wide, left, right, and center. Wayne Stokes sets pole. Now it's Corey Heim who takes the top spot. Never mind, it's John Moore, the man who was fastest in the practice session in that number 27, is going to be the fastest here in the qualifying session. And John Moore, not a name that we've heard of, not a name that we've heard much of in this season thus far, grabs the pole away from Tanner Reif by 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the type of racing that we're going to see all night long here. And you could see when he was coming on the pit road that is very awkward on how you get on and off the hot pit here. Normal pitting conditions are actually outside turn number 3. There's a gate going into 3 and a gate coming out of 4. That's where the haulers park. So kind of a different layout here tonight.
Absolutely. As we now jump to the race session here, we'll take a look at the starting grid here for tonight's race. And starting on pole, as we mentioned, with a time of 13.433 will be John Moore. Tanner Reif will start in that second position outside front row. Corey Heim and Walt Clow will make up row number 2. Cole Moore and Colby Howard in row number 3. Parker Traves and Derek Kraus will sit in row 4 with Austin Herzog and Dominic Lopez in row number 5. Mark Wirtz and Derek Griffith will make up row 7, and row 8 will go to Wayne Stokes and the season opening winner, Jake Drew.
Row number 8 going to Carson Quapple and Gio Selzy. Sean Woodside, your points leader, going to be starting right next to his nemesis, Toni Breidinger, in row number 9. Row 10 is going to see Sammy Smith and Jeremy Dose. Row number 11 goes to Josh Berry out of JR Motorsports. He's going to be joined with Eddie McDonald. Ty Majeski and... Go back.
No, it's still there.
Where am I? Ty Majeski and Andy Allen are rolling off in row number 12. Row 13 is going to go to Trevor Huddleston and Austin Maynard. And starting shotgun on the field, Blaine Roca in the number 98.
And Tony, I'm sure you're seeing what I'm seeing right now. The entirety of the grid qualified within a tenth of each other.
Yes, and that is very impressive.
It's mental.
That's especially on a 3/8 mile bull ring like this track. That's very impressive that everybody is so close. And that's what we've come to expect here in the Sim Racing Media AI super late model series. It's anybody can win any week, and it's going to be the aggression level on track that's going to either win you or lose you a race.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have, as we noted, we do have a little bit of extra time here because the standard iRacing grid for official races between other people is a 2-minute grid time for those people who are not on the grid. For the AI series, it's 5 minutes, so we do have that extra 3 minutes to sit here and wait. And unfortunately, that is not something that we can skip. Wish we could. Unfortunately, it is something we cannot get around. The weather conditions here today, Tony, you had mentioned a hot day here on this 4th of June, 76-degree ambient temperature. But I'm sure the number you're looking at is that 128-degree track temperature.
Yeah, absolutely. And during the practice session, it had gotten up to 140 degrees. And we're probably going to see it near that after a few laps here once they get the heat into the track and the heat into the tires. That track temperature is just going to continue to rise here under partly cloudy skies today in Brazelton, Georgia. Again, very picturesque area. If you ever get a chance to come to the area, you won't be disappointed. Beautiful people, beautiful scenery. And I mean, this is one of those racetracks that it just has so much history here.
Yep, absolutely. And as you can see there on the time, we are just past 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and we will now take a quick look back, and we will see that row that Tony was pointing out earlier on during the grid there. That would be row number 9, Sean Woodside and Toni Breidinger. The guy and gal that are number 1 and number 2 in the championship, currently sharing a row together. And for Woodside, just because he started in the back here, don't think that his top 5 streak can't continue. He started 21st at USA International last week, was the biggest mover of the race at plus 16 to finish in that 5th position. So that 45 definitely can still do it here today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I wouldn't put it past anybody to do that. And, as a matter of fact, like you mentioned during the hot lap session, we saw Derek Kraus being very aggressive, going 3 wide and almost making it 4 wide a couple of times.
There we go. Now we are rolling away here for our first of 2 pace laps here, and at this 3/8 of a mile racetrack, these pace laps are going to be quick. Tony, it is going to be a hectic race. Unlike the Bull Ring at Las Vegas, we have some banking here. It is a wide racetrack. You can use multiple grooves here tonight. It is going to be a fun race to watch these AI go at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can see the rubber already laid down in that second groove as the field worked its way around for the final pace lap as the lights are out on the pace car. Field working its way into the 3-4 complex. Very awkward pace lap coming into pit road. The only thing that's left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, pop some popcorn because it's time to get it on in the dirty South. Race fans, it's showtime.
Already out here on this first lap, John Moore, a solid run on that inside line. He will lead the first lap as Austin Herzog starts to fall through the middle. Carson Kvapil as well, falling through the middle. And there's, as you mentioned before, there's the 19 of Derek Kraus stuck on that outside line.
He was looking to make it 3 wide there for a little while. Finally able to get it sorted out. Does have a clear low, but he's going to stay in that top groove, or top to middle groove, actually. And this is where we saw him being very aggressive, was coming up through the middle of the pack.
There's the 35 of Carson Kvapil now just getting to that inside. The middle will work around here. It's not uncommon for that middle to work around here, at least from the test races that we've done here and from the practice laps that we have seen. As already you saw there in the back, I think that was Gio Scelzi. We're 4 wide at Lanier.
Good grief.
12 might have caught a little bit of a piece of the 24. As you can see, the 25 of Toni Breidinger trying to work her way forward. Currently in a points leading position at the moment, in front of that 45, but not for long, as Sean Woodside's right there.
Yeah, Woodside and Breidinger have definitely been the class of the field all week, or all season long so far. As they're 3 wide behind them, good grief.
It's Derek Griffith once again stuck in the middle. Breidinger on the outside, plenty of room given by the 12. That's Josh Berry in the 8, just below them. And it's going to be the 12 of Griffith that comes out the better of it. A little bit further forward, seeing the battle towards the front is just outside the top 5. Mark Wirtz in that number 55 right now, currently running in the 6th position. Carson Kvapil just getting into the top 10 as he's now 3 wide with Sammy Smith and now gets clear of Cole Moore.
These guys are just slugging it right now. I mean, this is what you would expect to see on the last lap of this race, not 12 laps into a 175 lap feature event. Oh, man.
It's Cole Moore.
I don't think I'm ever going to get used to the whole 3 wide at a bull ring.
No, and that's what we were talking about is, I believe during the first race, we get so used to seeing somebody throw something in late and just walking up the track and wrecking everyone and everything around them, that when we see it here, we're just conditioned to think that a wreck is going to happen, and when it doesn't, it's more nerve-wracking than anything else. Is Carson Quapple still fighting on the outside?
Absolutely. I just saw our buddy Wayne Stokes in the 92 actually running in the top 10. First time in a long time we've seen him have a good run.
Just saw Eddie McDonald get out of a 3 wide scenario. There's the 92 of Wayne Stokes. Wayne Stokes finished second to last in the season opener at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas, finished stone dead last at USA International last week, and I'm sure that that 92 is looking for a better result here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I heard, they tore the car completely apart after USA and rebuilt and refurbished every suspension piece on that car just to make sure that nothing was binding up and that the driver had the right feel coming into this week. And a brand new power plant under the hood of that Ford.
Still side by side, as that's Trevor Huddleston now leading that group. And just side by side all the way back. This is no nonsense. Short. Oh, the 24 getting really close with Kraus. And even
a
still
lot of 3 wide.
Yep, even Andy Allen getting close with Austin Maynard on the inside just behind them. And Allen goes, Dominic Lopez, goes 3 wide again.
Good grief. There was contact there between the 98 and the 24. No harm, no foul, though. But is that one of those dreaded orange cars that I see climbing up through the field behind them?
I think that might be. That's the 6
the
of
blue
Jake
and orange.
Drew.
Yeah.
Still, again, just 3 wide. All good. We're calm here.
Sure we are.
we're all good. That's the camera we were looking for. Riding on. Go ahead.
It's about as calm as a post-football game riot in the UK.
On board with the 19 of Derek Kraus, as there's a name we haven't really seen much towards the front as we probably would have expected. Ty Majeski running. This is for the 18th position. He's +5 from where he started. Starting to slowly work his way up as Cole Moore, the man who sat on the pole at 105 of 150 laps at USA last week, is now falling back and has actually gotten lapped, I believe. No, pardon me, is not. As speaking of getting lapped, there is the leader, John Moore in the 27. He's gotten right into the middle of this mix. Well, that didn't take long.
Yeah, no, it didn't, as he's got a good number of cars a lap down already and looking to get more.
It's a 20 of Corey Heim going for the race lead. Now, these guys have been separated by about a second and a half up at the front, but as we've been saying, the first 2 rounds of the season, it'll string out up at the front. But then when they get to the lap traffic, it'll start to come back. The accordion will start to come back, and that's exactly what happened as Corey Heim has taken that race lead back, and now John Moore stuck on that outside, losing position now to the 9 of Tanner Reif.
And yeah, but I mean, he's stuck on the outside, but you take a look at what's going on with the leader. That's Breidinger and the 99 are going after each other, and that's for position in race. So the 20's got to be mindful of that, as the 9 closing in on him very quickly coming off of 4.
this hornet's nest that Parker Traves and John Moore find themselves in now. Mark Wirtz also for position. Walt Clow in here now, 3 wide here at Lanier. Just give us a second, boys. John Moore.
And you and I both mentioned after the last race at USA that we're probably going to become spoiled. And during the next broadcast you and I did live, we both said that after the race, like, yeah, we became real spoiled because of this series.
Oh, we didn't wait until after the first race. We waited until the first break.
Yeah.
Before we said that. Here's the 17 of Eddie McDonald. Second to last right now. Colby Howard in the 81 behind him, currently running in the last paying position. As Tanner Reif has now taken the race lead and has gotten away. We'll take a look. This happened about 3 laps ago as we were going through the rest of the field. This is the Tanner Reif pass on Corey Heim for the race lead. Inside line versus outside line through 3 and 4. Inside line prevails, able to get around Toni Breidinger and get away.
Actually, that's Breidinger still in front of the 9.
Oh, you're right. And
so,
now, oh my goodness.
She's been cut loose, and now she's going to climb through the field with the leader right behind her. Oh my God.
As Mark Wirtz heads up the middle. Mark Wirtz in the 55 up to second, passing Parker Traves, last week's winner. Traves now tries to go up the middle, and he'll retake that second position. But watch for Walt Clow on the inside.
Clow with a good head of steam, and
that's Wayne Stokes for position. As Corey Heim now starting to fall back as well. It's on board of Corey Heim.
This has got to be like for you to come home from work during rush hour on the 405.
I just think we've had racing like this all season long and not a caution to be found this season.
Yeah.
20 of Corey Heim stuck in that middle as Colby Howard tries to find a way back around. Wayne Stokes running in the 3rd position right now, battling for that spot with Parker Traves in the 60. And again, we said Wayne Stokes needed to have a good race here today. Running in a podium spot right now. Get up and away from Colby Howard, but Howard looks like he's got position, he's got pace. As Walt Clow now has been sprung free, he is now trying to set sights back on Tanner Reif as the 27 of John Moore has a close coming with Cole Moore on the outside.
I don't think I can take much more.
No, this is... Oh, boy.
Good grief.
I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say. Just sit back and watch.
Absolutely. This is... there's so much action going on, you don't even know where to look.
This is a crank it up session that doesn't need any explanation.
Pretty much.
Mark Wirtz stuck on that outside. He's now falling back to the 9th spot. Corey Heim there as well. He's in 6th. And John Moore, after going from the race lead, falling just outside the top 10, has now battled his way back into 4th in the 27.
Let's go on board with the 20 because I was able to get a GoPro on his helmet before we went live.
Let's do that. Here, hold on 1 second. There we go. On board with Corey Heim.
Good grief. You can see him just sawing at that wheel. That car all sorts of free right now. And, he's just flat wheeling that car.
And on the outside, and that's for position 2 because Josh Berry in that 8 is for position. You can see in the rearview mirror, or the little side view mirror there, the 51 of Sammy Smith. He's there for position as well. There's no rest, and you can hear for how short a time these guys are on the throttle here. If we would just shut up for a second. It's about a 2 or 3 second little burst on the throttle. Is surprise, here's Sammy Smith in the middle.
Not a real surprise. Smith has been aggressive all season, as he's starting to climb his way up. Oh my goodness.
That's the 50 of Trevor Huddleston. That almost caused our first caution of the year, and now Gio Scelzi looking for his way forward. Scelzi looking to get up into the top 5 for the first time this year, outside of the pit cycle at least.
Good run out of the California native.
And don't look just behind them just yet, because there's Derek Kraus in the middle of another Hornets nest. We're still running 3 wide here.
Good grief. Ty Majeski still trying to climb up through the field. That is just an angry pack of wolves right there.
And Cole Moore, who was the fastest man last week at USA International, is now running stone dead last. And this is what I said, anyone can win on any given week.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the level of talent throughout this field. I mean, you've got Spears Late Model Series regulars. You've got Cars Late Model Series regulars. You've got ARCA Series drivers. You've got K&N Pro Series drivers. This is a who's who of full-fendered short track racing in the U.S. and Canada. And, they're just putting on an amazing show here tonight.
I want to point this out really quick. Mark Wirtz, we just saw him battling for 3rd position not that long ago. There he is on screen. Coming up behind him is the 9 of Tanner Reif, who is 2.5 seconds in the lead.
Yikes.
20 laps ago, Wirtz was battling for 2nd. Now he's battling to stay on the lead lap.
That's just wild to me, as Drew is right there as well. Drew had a good run going. He was starting to climb through the field, and then just got kind of hemmed up, and now he's in danger of going a lap down to his teammate.
Toni Breidinger just put a lap down. Sean Woodside also put a lap down. Derek Griffith, the first car, not on the lead lap in that number 12 right there. And it's just been, it's been non-stop racing. Is now Walt Clow battling for 2nd place with the 92 of Wayne Stokes. Stokes stuck behind the 22 of Andy Allen. Walt Clow stuck on the outside line. And who do you envy more in that spot? The guy who's stuck behind the lap car, or the guy who's stuck on the outside?
Probably the guy that's stuck behind the lap car. The lap car has more incentive to kind of get his poop in a group and try to get going.
Stokes, unfortunately, could not hold it behind Andy Allen. So now the 46 of Walt Clow has gotten to that inside line. And by the way, while those two were battling, they're still getting close, because look at what Tanner Reif is stuck in.
Yeah, that's a 3 wide battle for position in front of him.
And behind him.
And behind him. He's got to be mindful of the fact that he might be the race leader, but those guys are racing for paying positions.
And also we talked about the rise and fall of the 55 of Mark Wirtz. Parker Traves is a lap down now. He was in 2nd, and now he's a lap down, not 30 laps later.
Currently working lap 73 of 175. You are watching the Sim Racing Media Super Late Model AI Series. Tony Trapasso and Frank Marchese up in the booth with you. Want to thank everybody for joining us in the live chat here tonight. Thank you so much for making us a part of your evening. But Frank, we still aren't even at the halfway mark, and we've seen so much racing that we would expect to see on the final lap here, just in the first 75 laps.
I can't believe we're already 75 laps into this race. It's gone by so quick. Wayne Stokes up into second place as Walt Klaus stuck once again on that high line, and now John Moore looking to get back into a podium-paying position, looking for third on that number 46 of Clow, and has it. Can't quite clear him. Boy, that 46 of Clow making it life difficult for the 27 of Moore.
Good grief. I can't get over just how close these cars are able to run and not get into each other. We're getting spoiled with this.
It's 125% maximum difficulty, 125% minimum difficulty, with 0% consistency out of these drivers, by the way. So these guys are ratcheted up with the smallest brain that they could possibly have, and we're still getting this racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I dare say that if we didn't have the consistency turned all the way down, we wouldn't see the 3 and 4 wide that we've been seeing.
It might have been a very short-lived second place position for Wayne Stokes, because now that 92 has just been passed by the 27. And again, John Moore started on pole here tonight. Still working his way forward. He fell way back, and now he's gotten way back forward. And with these guys battling in this group, Tanner Reif has found clear and open track yet again. He's now opened that lead up to 5 seconds over the group that we were just watching, because they're stuck in this.
I mean, picture the worst traffic jam you've ever been in, and now put it in downtown Cleveland on the I-90 at rush hour, and tell everybody they've got to evacuate the city.
Now riding on board with the 16 of Gio Scelzi. Scelzi with his best run of the season so far, currently running in 6th. We still have pit stops left to go here. 50% fuel fill for these guys. So they will definitely not be able to make it the entire race on fuel. Again, now Stokes battling again for that 3rd spot. 3 wide in the middle, with the 8 of Josh Berry, who's also for position. And so is Walt Clow for 2nd, by the way.
These guys are just putting on a clinic here at Lanier.
And this is why we decided to do this series, as pit stops have now started. Here's Gio Scelzi in. Huddleston. Saw Ty Majeski there, Sammy Smith. And again, if these guys have pit stalls on the front straightaway, they still have to go all the way around to get to their pit box on the front stretch.
Actually, I don't think there are any pit stalls on the front stretch itself.
You might be right on that. As here comes Walt Clow, pitting from, I hope, 2nd. As this has now become the battle for the race lead here between Josh Berry and John Moore.
Berry and Moore doing a little bit different strategy than everybody else, just kind of staying out there a little bit longer. It's going to be interesting to see which one of the first one of them is going to flinch to bring it down for some service.
You're right. You're 100% right, by the way. There are no pit boxes on the front stretch, so my apologies there.
But still, you have to go all the way around before you get to your box.
Tanner Reif, the former race leader, back out on track. able to rejoin. There is no blue rejoin cone here the way we see at the bigger racetracks. This track is so small, and this pit exit, once you get away from the pit wall and you clear that pit wall on the inside, then you're good to rejoin the racing surface as long as it's safe. There is no blue cone here.
Which is a little bit different than what we see at just about every other track.
Yes.
Hey.
Sunrise Ford Racing teammates almost colliding there. The 6 of Drew, the 9 of Reif.
As the 9 gets hung out on the top side.
That is Josh Berry, the current race leader. John Moore has fallen off of him, as those are the only 2 remaining drivers that have not come down pit road in some way, shape, or form. And look at Carson Kvapil there in the 35 in the middle.
Putting all sorts of pressure on the 27 right now. Now, Frank, my timing and scoring is kind of messed up. Did you notice anybody taking tires?
I'm seeing 22-second pit stops down the line. So yes, I would say that's 4 tires for everybody. There's more. Again, this 27 of Moore and the 8 of Josh Berry, the only 2 that have not come into pit, and I don't think Josh Berry could right now if he wanted to.
He's got to get to the low side if he's going to have any shot at going to pit, and he's not going to be able to do so as they're 4 wide.
And John Moore is in the same position. He's not able to get down to the inside either. And Carson Kvapil's gotten into the wall somewhere. There is the 35 of Carson Kvapil, slow, almost getting into the side of Wayne Stokes. He really needs to get that 35 onto pit road, and he will not be able to.
He's going to get to the low side and just hold everybody up behind him.
That was Blaine Roca that came flashing by.
Yeah, he's coming pit this time.
I would hope so. Is going to try
Heavy
to
damage.
Find that cut in the wall, actually hit the pit wall.
Bonk.
And that will avoid any further reckoning to his machine. It's that 35 all torn up by the door. And those are the incidents that we have seen more often than not with these guys, is you get 3 wide, the outside car pushes up a little bit too high, and the second car, the middle car, shoves out a little bit too wide. The third car on the high line gets shoved into the wall, and I believe that's exactly what happened there, especially with the 99 of Cole Moore coming out of pit road.
Yeah, I mean, that 4 wide situation was not going to do anybody any good, as the 8 and the 27 still have not been able to get it pit side.
There's the 99, and there is Carson Kvapil getting shoved into the fence. Almost hit that opening for the haulers.
Yeah, he got very lucky, because that'll ruin your day quickly.
Would have been our first caution of the night, of the season, if that were to have happened. As there is John Moore, pardon me, in the 27. And you're right, Tony, those are the only 2 that have yet to come down pit road. And it's been a good 20 laps since everyone else has been down. Tanner Reif, currently running in the 3rd position right now, came in on lap 89. We're working lap 112 now.
That's either impressive or scary, and I'm not sure which.
And that just goes to show how much the AI is short pitting on these tanks of fuel as well, that they can go a lot longer, as we're seeing right now, as there's Wayne Stokes going around. Sean Woodside there as well.
That's Woodside on the low side, your points leader coming into tonight. As he finally does get clear going into 1.
It's Corey Heim battling for position. Somebody in that group, I'm sure. The 92 of Stokes. and also the 19 of Kraus.
Yeah, Heim's up to 7th, Kraus is up to 8th, as you got to wonder how much longer are the 8 and 27 going to be able to stay out.
And once they do eventually come in, Tanner Reif will be awarded the race lead. Now Reif, as Reif finds himself in this kerfuffle, as Josh Berry now comes in, the race leader down pit road. So while Tanner Reif works himself through this kerfuffle, Walt Clow would be the next car for position. He is 9 seconds adrift of Tanner Reif at the moment. But the good news is, for him at least, he has a lot of open racetrack ahead of him, whereas Tanner Reif is still very much in a battle.
Absolutely, as here comes the 19 up the middle. Here's
Derek Kraus. Toni Breidinger in the 25 in this battle as well, and now it just goes to show how flimsy track position can be with these AI, especially around a racetrack this small. Tanner Reif was at the very front of this group. He's now getting swallowed back into the middle of it again.
Yeah, unfortunately, getting stuck on that high lane is not very ideal here tonight, as currently working lap 122 of 175. The only car left to pit that has not done so yet is the 27.
He's at the front of this little group here. So while we wait on the 27 of John Moore, Tanner Reif waiting to resume the race lead. Walt Clow has pulled in 5 full seconds from the last time we had seen him just a couple of laps ago, as Tanner Reif is stuck in this battle. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching the Super Late Model AI series right here on ESPN. Don't go anywhere. The finish of this race is going to be incredible. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight, is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing it's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Back to live action here from Lanier National Speedway. Just 40 laps to go here from Lanier. Tanner Reif, we had said going into break that Reif held a 9-second lead. Then just before we went to break, it was a 4-second lead. It's now down to a 1.5 seconds as Walt Clow has been able to get through some of this traffic a little bit easier than Tanner Reif has. The problem is for Clow, he's got the traffic still to get through. Reif is at the front of it, but he is not pulling away at the same rate he was earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. But he has lapped all the way up to 9th, and that's nothing short of impressive.
That's the 27 of John Moore getting a lap back after coming into pit road just as we went to break. The third place car is Gio Scelzi. Now, he is not alone either. He does have a race with him. That's the 20 of Corey Heim is the next person he is battling. Corey Heim does have a little bit of a reprieve because the 50 of Trevor Huddleston running in 5th is 2.5 seconds behind him. And now Tanner Reif not having a good time of it up here at the front. Even though he's in the front of the pack, Walt Clow still closing in. It's down to a 0.5 seconds. We thought 9 seconds with about 65 to go was insurmountable. Boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it just goes to show the level of talent in this field tonight, of the fact that they can crank off the lap times that they're cranking off, but it has to do with that inconsistency that's been programmed in, that a couple fast laps and then get hung out, a couple fast laps, then get hung out. And that's what we've kind of been seeing all night long here with the race leaders. As soon as they get into traffic, they have trouble picking their way through cleanly.
And that's what we were talking about earlier on this season, is we'll see guys get out to good 2, 3, 4 second leads. But once they get into that lap traffic, it'll all start to fall back into that accordion coming back together. And that's exactly what we've seen here tonight. Now Walt Clow in a very bad spot, stuck on that outside line, in danger of having all the work that he's put in to get this close to Tanner Reif getting undone. And it pretty much is at this point.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, as we're 30 to go. He has to make something happen quickly here. And with Murderer's Row in between him and the race leader right now, I mean, that's a who's who of short track North American auto racing.
And bad news for Walt Clow. Tanner Reif has found that form and is running away from this group now. That lead, which a couple of seconds ago was a 0.5 seconds, is now up to 3 seconds. Jake Drew, on the other hand, now passing Trevor Huddleston, that for the 5th spot. Wayne Stokes in the 92 on the outside there is there as well. He's on for his best finish of the season thus far, trying to get under Huddleston.
And, Huddleston's no slouch, and he's going to figure out a way to get back by. But just the action that we've seen so far here tonight, Frank, is nothing short of amazing.
Walt Clow has free fallen. Again, we just said the gap was a 0.5 seconds, then it was 2, now it's 5. As Gio Scelzi has worked his way up, and now here comes Scelzi looking to the inside for 2nd spot, and the 16 of Scelzi takes it. Corey Heim here as well, looking to get onto a podium position.
Be the best finish of the season so far for the 16 and the 20, both of them, as they're still working their way through some heavy traffic. And you got to think that the 20's kind of in no man's land right now, as he's hung out on the top side, was in a 3-wide situation, as here comes Breidinger to get by the 20.
And for Walt Clow, and those are 2 Venturini Motorsports teammates there between the 25 and the 20. And you got to think all of this for Walt Clow started when the 98 of Blaine Roca rooted him off the inside when he was within touching distance of Tanner Reif. That gap has now ballooned back up to 6 seconds as Reif still finding himself in a little bit of a kerfuffle as that group that he was in has actually split in half as John Moore has gotten back into the mix. Not for position is Moore, but now he's battling for position with the 81 of Howard and the 11 of Herzog.
And those are two names that we haven't really talked a lot about tonight. Herzog has not had the run he's been hoping for, but he's getting some airtime as that is a hot and heavy battle right now as the 27 goes to the top side with the 11. And you got to think that might not be the best course of action, at least not what we've seen here tonight so far.
All 5 of these cars are for position. Colby Howard currently running in the 9th position all the way back to John Moore in 13th. All of these guys battling to get inside or to stay in the top 10 as we're about to cross the line with 16 to go.
And this race has gone by hella quick. Being as we're 16 to go already, and we've seen a ton of 3 and 4 wide, which, you being the iRacing servers long enough, you kind of know that certain tracks you can get away with 3 wide, certain tracks you can't. This is normally one of those tracks where that's a guaranteed caution in most other races we would see at this facility.
So there you see the 16 of Gio Selzy just passing by the bottom of your screen. He is currently running in second. Corey Heim has just taken past and cleared Walt Clow for the final step on the podium. Jake Drew now starting to come into focus in that 5th position. Jake Drew a solid run on another 3/8 of a mile racetrack after winning at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas to begin this campaign. He's got Wayne Stokes right behind him. Sammy Smith in the 51 coming up as well.
And Smith is no slouch either. TMC normally doesn't put their logo on just anybody's car. They go after the best of the best, and Smith is one of the best of the best. He just haven't had the results to signify that this season so far.
Just got passed up for the 7th spot by the 50 of Trevor Huddleston as Jake Drew now setting his sights on Walt Clow, who still for the last 40 laps or so has not been able to get off of that outside line, and his free fall has continued. Might lose 5th at this point, and with Wayne Stokes right there as well, could be out of the top 5 entirely with 8 to go.
As that's Woodside, your points leader coming into tonight, currently sitting in 20th. So safe to assume Woodside, just a night he'd just as soon forget.
Safe to assume that his top 5 streak is done as well. Woodside, again, coming into tonight, was the only driver to finish in the top 5 in both of the 2 races run this season. And I would say that is pretty well done as Jake Drew now gets to the inside of Walt Clow. Trevor Huddleston there as well. He's battling with Wayne Stokes, has gotten around Wayne Stokes. Stokes now gets back to the bottom as Huddleston now looks for 5th on Clow.
Stokes trying to get the run on the top side, but very uncharacteristic of what we've seen in other series this season, or this particular race tonight. Second lane not coming in and not being advantageous as we've been able to see at other places.
Absolutely, as Drew starting to run away. Huddleston still
2 to go.
Right there. As we take a look now at Tanner Reif, who's actually coming up to the back of that group that we were just seeing. Tanner Reif has had an incredible run here tonight, has led a vast majority of the laps, just as we've seen the other 2 winners do. this season. Coming through turns 3 and 4. Sunrise Ford takes 2 of the first 3 races of the season. Tanner Reif wins here at Lanier.
What a finish.
What a race. And Walt Clow, there he is at the line, just does come up behind Trevor Huddleston. So Clow again, who when we came back from break was about a half a second off of the race leader, finishes in 6th.
Smith,
Oof.
Stokes, Howard, and Roca rounding out your top 10. Only 8 cars finishing on the lead lap here tonight at Lanier.
Incredible night here tonight. And also got to thank Carson Quapple too, coming back after his issue earlier on tonight. He still finished last place running, but a nice comeback drive for Quapple after being in the pits for a good 30 laps, finishing 30 laps down here tonight. But Tony, we're going to need to take a rest here for a minute, because that was an incredible race and exactly the kind of racing we would hope to see from this series.
Very much so. We're kind of getting spoiled when we see these races, because when you're able to see moves that, as you and I have mentioned numerous times to each other, that normally when we see those moves take place, it's going to be a caution. However, the AI able to not wreck, and it's refreshing to see, but it's also scary of the fact that we can go 2 and 3 wide all night long and not bring out a caution flag, and we only had one car actually have to go pit side for damage.
Yeah, but that was the first time we had seen that all season long. So that also goes to show how crazy this racing has been here thus far this season. And next week we pack up and go to a racetrack that no longer exists down in South Carolina. That would be Myrtle Beach Speedway, a racetrack that we both were very excited to put on this schedule, wanting to see the great racing at Myrtle Beach. Gonna be a fun night in South Carolina next week.
Yeah, it's one of those facilities that you kind of wish was still around, because every time we go to Myrtle Beach, it's always a fun time, no matter what the series is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can go on YouTube and see mid to late 90s Grand National races there for the Busch Series. Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually had his first ever Busch ride was at Myrtle Beach Speedway in the number 31. So it's a track with a lot that held a lot of history in its day.
Yes, it did, and it's one of those forgotten tracks that you look back at it and go, why did this ever go away? And they call it progress. I call it something I can't say on air.
Not progress.
Yeah, go with that thought.
So Myrtle Beach coming up next week. Then after that, it's North Wilkesboro. It'll be our first 200 lapper of the season. We have a couple of special events that we're going to be putting on this season, and North Wilkesboro is the first of those special event races. And then after that, we go to South Boston. So the next 3 weeks are going to be a lot of fun racing on a little bit bigger tracks. Myrtle Beach, a half a mile. North Wilkesboro, a little bit more than a half a mile. Sobo, a little less than a half a mile. So we've got a lot of, they're short tracks, different variations. The bankings are different, especially Myrtle Beach, configured a little bit different, but a lot of great racing still to come here this season as we end round 3, Tony.
Round 3 in the books. Let's take a quick look at our finishing order, Frank.
I'd say that's a good idea.
That sounds like a grand idea. Tanner Reif, Gio Selzy, Corey Heim coming home in your podium position. Second race this season that Sunrise Ford has come home on the top step of the podium. Jake Drew coming home in fourth. So a great run for the Sunrise Ford racing team tonight. Trevor Huddleston rounding out your top five. Walt Clow, Sammy Smith, Wayne Stokes, best finish of the season for the Canadian out of Shamrock Motorsports so far. Colby Howard and Blaine Roca rounding out your top 10, Frank.
Derek Griffith, Austin Herzog, Ty Majeski, another good finish, the best finish of the season for Ty Majeski. John Moore, Josh Berry finishing in the top 15. Toni Breidinger, Andy Allen, Eddie McDonald, Mark Wirtz, and Cole Moore rounding out the top 20. Parker Traves, Dominic Lopez, Sean Woodside, Derek Kraus, Austin Maynard, Jeremy Doss, and Carson Quapple rounding out the field of 27 drivers here tonight, completely disregarding the guy on the bottom. So we thank you very much for joining us here tonight, and we will see you all tomorrow. We'll see you all next week, for round number 4 at Myrtle Beach. Good night, everybody.